Thank you, David Clowes. Thank you, Paul Warne. This result falls on both of your shoulders. David Clowes decided to stick with Paul Warne for the full month of January, and ultimately it is shown in this squad and the devoidness of confidence, the lack of ideas. John Eustace cannot be blamed for tonight's performance. Just one day on the training pitch is not going to take all those habits out that were there under Paul Warne. There's a lot that Derby County need to do over the course of the next week before we get to that game versus Millwall. Now, if you don't know the scoreline, Derby County have just lost 4-0 to QPR at Loftus Road. A very, very disappointing game. And in my opinion, all 4 goals are very, very avoidable. And it's a very, very disappointing circumstance that Derby County find themselves in right now because, yes, a 4-0 defeat, it's a battering on our goal difference, but ultimately, I don't think there's much blame that you can put on that of John Eustace. I don't think there's any blame that you can put on him or his coaching staff. I think it's purely a situation that has been brought on by what David Clowes has done over the course of the last 6 to 8 weeks, which is keep Paul Warne in a job. I spoke about it in December after the Leeds game that Paul Warne had to go. He needed to go because he made it clear that he didn't trust this squad. He didn't believe in these players, and ultimately that has sucked the confidence out of them. It's sucked the life out of these players, and John Eustace has a massive, massive job on his hands. And I haven't heard what he said in the press because it's not happened yet. I'm recording this literally directly after the game, but it literally... This is all Paul Warne. It is all David Clowes. A lack of investment in the squad and keeping a man who literally killed this squad of confidence is an absolute joke. And it's just a consistent problem with Derby County that, yes, we need to talk about stability, loyalty and things like that. And yes, Paul Warne got us promoted. But for me, I spoke about it in the summer, we knew he wasn't good enough for the Championship. And I'm talking about Paul Warne in this video. Yes, he's been gone for over a week now, but ultimately these players are still stuck in that mould of Paul Warne football. And to be honest with you, Ebou Adams absolutely honking tonight. Ebou Adams was terrible. Jakub Zetterstrom, poor error for the second goal. But again, that second goal only came as a result of Ebou Adams getting dragged to the ball in that midfield area, which opened up the whole left-hand side of the pitch. And like, I've said it time and time again, Ebou Adams on the ball is terrible. Off the ball, it's supposed to be his bread and butter, and he was terrible tonight. Absolutely honking. Now, we bought Selverson off at half-time. I'm going to assume that that's an injury. It has to be an injury of some description, because otherwise it makes absolutely no sense. Now, for me, I personally thought Selverson would play up front on his own. He didn't. He played in a 2 with Jerry Yates and Mendez-Laing and Harness on either side. And I thought Mendez-Laing never really got into the game. Had a couple of moments where he went at his man. Harness was trying to get in the game. But the midfield 2 of Ben Osborne and Ebou Adams was awful, in my opinion. But Kenzo Holdmine could have started today and played a number 10 role, played a little bit further forward, and we'd have had someone in that midfield who can get on the ball and who can actually do things. And the thing is, like, consistently, again and again and again, this is going to fall on Paul Warne. It's going to fall on David Clowes, because they put this squad together and they are the reason why we are in this situation. David Clowes has lacked investment with this squad. Paul Warne brought these players in. Those two are going to get the main blame. And to be fair, tonight was never, ever, ever a 4-0 game. It was never a 4-0 game. Derby County made a lot of individual errors and all of them led to goals. I think after 20 minutes, I don't think they'd even had a shot, in my opinion. Well, it might not even be in my opinion. It might be a fact. I don't think they had a shot after 20 minutes. And it's really difficult to read into this performance, because for me, like, there's going to be people saying this isn't Paul Warne's fault and things like that. There's going to be people that are now going to jump on this and go, it obviously wasn't down to Paul Warne, was it? Paul Warne obviously was getting the most out of these players. But for me, I don't agree. Like, I don't know how you can look at that performance and look at those players and not think about Paul Warne and not think about David Clowes. Now, we've obviously spoke about the fact we've lost 4-0. Ilias Chair scored an absolute stunner early on in the game, about 20 minutes in, and that completely changed the game. Then scored again after 35, which was where Zetterstrom put out really stupid arm, really. He should have bought it into himself, but he didn't. Then Chair scores again after 57 and Edwards after 66. Now, we limited them to very, very poor opportunities, 0.88 XG to 0.56. Now, the thing is, tonight we were very, very bad, but I don't think that's on John Eustace at all. I don't think it is on John Eustace at all. I think on the ball we had really good moments, and I thought we didn't necessarily create great chances, but Ebou Adams has to be blamed for the first goal. I don't care what anybody says. If a midfielder can't take the ball under pressure, he shouldn't be playing football. Some people will probably say it's on Ryan Niambi because he shouldn't have thrown him the ball, but ultimately you trust your players, and Ebou Adams is a player who should be able to get on the ball and should be able to make things happen. But yet again, he's played 90 minutes today and has been our worst player. For me, he's been our worst player today. And Callum got out-jumped by someone who's fucking 4'7". It's an absolute joke. I think that led to the third goal. Genuinely, I'm bewildered at this squad. Now, for me, I have absolutely no understanding why Derby County didn't bring on Jake Rooney, why they didn't bring on Cruz Allen. We're 4-0 down after fucking 65 minutes. Why not just give them a go? What's the worst that's going to happen? And that's something which we're going to discuss heading into the next game, which is against Millwall. It's one of those, for me, which is going to be, it's a massive game. It is a massive game because John Eustace will have had 5 training sessions by then. He'll be able to do a couple tactical, couple technical, and get these players sort of in a way. Now, I always said, and I said this on Twitter a few days ago, you will have probably seen it in my preview video, but I spoke about it a couple of days ago on Twitter, that John Eustace could not be expected to turn this around. In one training session. As I put it on February 13th, I just want to temper expectations. Tomorrow won't be the start of Eustace Ball, whatever that may be. He will only have had one training session to build something, so our first proper sighting of Eustace Ball will be versus Millwall when he's had a full week. And the thing is, I always said it was going to be difficult tonight. We drop into the relegation zone again, and that's obviously disappointing, obviously considering those teams around us all have 2 games in hand, and there is obviously a situation where we could be sitting bottom of the league in a few games' time. But what we've got to do is we've got to just actually push forward. We've got to keep doing things, and we've got to change the way we're playing, and that is going to come over the course of the next few weeks. And obviously, who's going to be the reason for Derby County to find some form? Which player is going to step up? I really don't know. Now, the big question is going to be who, how, when. We really need to spin this around, and it has to happen quickly. And it really does fall on Paul Warne. It falls on David Clowes, and a lot of people are going to turn around and disagree with me. A lot of people are going to say you can't just keep talking about them. But at the end of the day, we didn't give John Eustace a transfer window. We didn't give any new manager a transfer window. The fact that Paul Warne is still here, well, Paul Warne was still here a week ago after the transfer window ended, was an absolute joke. It was obvious in December that he'd lost the belief in this club, and he said it himself. And it's just so frustrating because we started brightly, and I put it on at half time, right? Where is it? We've not even played badly. Ebou Adams non-existent, goes missing in the middle for the second goal, can't play under pressure for the first. Zetterstrom should do better for the second, but if Adams is in position, the switch doesn't even reach. We need more technically. And the thing is, again, I just don't know how we've lost this game 4-0. I don't think we've played that badly. I don't think we were that bad. We've just cocked up. We've made defensive errors, which have ultimately cost us massively. And to be completely honest with you, today has to be about the players. It has to be blamed on the players, especially your Ebou Adams, your Jakub Zetterstrom, and this has to change, and it has to change quickly. And obviously, missing out on David Ozo today was massive. Missing out on Nat Phillips again was massive. Would he have stuck with a 3 if Nat Phillips was available? I don't know. I'm not even going to try and guess. But we're in a desperate position right now, and bringing in John Eustace was never going to be something that changes us overnight. It was never. It's a complete change of style, complete change of philosophy. There's a lot that Derby County must do in order to be better heading into their next game. Obviously, that one is against Millwall. Is it going to come? Who knows? Millwall play tomorrow in what's going to be a tough game for them because they've got to bounce back from that 5-1 thrashing of Plymouth Argyle. Very, very disappointed in this performance, and I personally put it down to Paul Warne and David Clowes. David Clowes stuck with him for way too long, and it's ultimately costing us now. So if you have not done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and I'll catch you in my next video.